Hello and welcome back to the Matrix Green Pill podcast. I'm Hilmarie Hutchison, and today I am so excited to be joined by a passionate leader in early years education, Laura Barton Toyne. Laura brings a wealth of expertise in child development, special education needs, and creating innovative, child-centered environments. Under her leadership, Yellow Kite has become a top-rated nursery known for its focus on play, connection, and natural learning experiences. I am thrilled to have her with us today to share her journey and insights. Welcome to the show, Laura, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. That was quite the introduction.
To start off, could you please introduce yourself and tell our audience a little bit about you and your background?
I have worked in early years for over 20 years, primarily spent my time working in nurseries, but as you rightly said, I do have experience working with a variety of children and families, particularly with additional needs. I have worked in children's homes, respite centres. I have a social work degree, and I have spent a lot of time, training and harnessing my craft. And it's taken me down different routes and different paths over the years. And I have obviously most recently spent the last 10 years in Dubai, getting to know families and communities in Dubai. And I have the privilege of being at the helm of Yellow Kite Nursery.
Fantastic introduction. Thank you so much. Can you tell us, how did you end up in Dubai?
It was honestly completely unexpected. An opportunity was presented to me by one of my previous mentors, and she's still a mentor and friend of mine now. She had had a discussion with me maybe 18 months prior to the opportunity arising, asking, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What kind of growth are you looking for? And I said, I'd very much like to return to the Middle East. I did spent some time here as a child growing up in Saudi Arabia. I've always wanted to experience a different demographic and cultural experience and, have that growth. And then 18 months later, she called me and she offered me an opportunity in Dubai, and I grabbed it with both hands. I honestly didn't even think twice. I said yes there and then. And, it was a 2-year plan, and 10 years later, here we are.
That's incredible. That is so typical. I cannot tell you how many people have said that. They came for a short stint, they fell in love with a lifestyle in Dubai and ended up staying. So yours is quite a typical story.
Yeah, everything stemmed from that.
Then you just stayed and everything grew from there.
Yeah, so I was in a serious relationship at the time, and I said, look, I'm going to Dubai. Do you want to come? And yeah, I now have my husband. My son was born here as well, and we're very happy. We're very settled.
Now, let's talk a little bit about you and progressing in your career. You said, from a very young age, you had a natural calling to work with children. Can you maybe share some experience or some specific moments that solidified it for you that this is what you wanted to do?
I always think of it as a privilege to do what I do. I'm so lucky. I come to work and do a job that I love to do every single day. And I don't think many people get to say that. And I think that in itself is a realization for me. It's never been one big thing that solidified that I'm in the right place, but it has been, lots of little things, I would say. So from being the bossy child, the holiday camps and getting everybody organized, to finding myself naturally drawn to children, even amongst friends. I'm always the baby whisperer. I'm always the one playing with the toddler. I'm always the one there to give the advice and to help. And I love people. And a big part of what I do is working with the families, not just with the children. And I really enjoyed that aspect of it as well. But I do think, just how can you not realize how lucky you are and enjoy the job that you're in when children bring so much joy every single day? There isn't a single day that goes by that I don't smile or love a part of my day because I get to spend it with the children. That is such a privilege.
I love that. Your attitude and your mindset. This is why you are so good at what you do, because you absolutely love what you do. And that translates, and children will relate to that. They will feel it, that you love to be, that you love to support them.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the Yellow Kite. You have the Yellow Kite Nursery, and then you are working on a book. First, you want to talk about the nursery first?
So Yellow Kite Nursery, it's a special place. It's a home away from home. And anyone who steps through its doors often goes, wow, I didn't expect it to be like this, or I didn't expect it to feel like that. I think what's special about us is the little community that we've created here. We're so much more than just a nursery. We really are. We try and be a solution for all families. And obviously, being in Dubai, there is such a broad demographic of families and what that looks like. And being a parent could be quite isolating, not necessarily having your direct family network here with you, which is quite common in Dubai. It makes our role even more important. So we do reach out to our families. We do build those relationships. We don't just work closely with the children. We want to get to know you too, the mums and dads. It really is one big family. We always call ourselves the Yellow Kite family, not just Yellow Kite Nursery.
I love that you creating a support network not only for the children, but you are there for the parents. You're providing a holistic support for the whole family. Why the rebrand though? Because it was Kangaroo Nursery before. Why the rebrand to Yellow Kite?
So the nursery was founded 19 years ago. It was a very different world back then and a very different place. And we've really evolved and we've gone on a journey together. Kangaroo Kids, yes, don't get me wrong, it stood as the test of time and we're grateful for all that it brought to us. But we spent a lot of time developing ourselves and using the curiosity approach and Hygge as a part of that. And we really wanted something, a symbol really, if you like, that represented who we were on the inside to reflect on the outside. And that's where Yellow Kite came in, because the kite is a symbol of resilience, adventure, curiosity, exploration. And yellow was really about new beginnings, bright horizons. And that's where that creation came from. And we feel now that logo and that symbol that we have with the child and the kite really represents who we are and what we have evolved into.
Is part of this evolution also the fact that you are so focused on providing natural experiences for the children?
Our vision at Yellow Kite Nursery is connect, protect, and play. And when we talk about protect, yes, the world around us is super important. And so is our connection with nature and eco-literacy. And also alongside that is childhood. We're protective of our children as a whole and the world that they're going to inherit. Play obviously is a huge element of that, and connect is bringing that connection not just with nature, with our families, with our children and the wider world around us. So that's where that comes from.
Excellent. So finding the right balance between structured learning and free play is critical in early childhood education. How do you approach this at Yellow Kite, and why is play such a core principle?
Well, I think sometimes people try and separate play and learning, and actually that is the wrong thing to do. The brain's favorite way to learn is through play, and all play is a learning opportunity. And I think as adults, we forget. And obviously, we're early years educators, so this is our bread and butter. We really don't place enough value and understanding on play. And you look at all of our founding fathers of the curiosity approach, it considers Waldorf, Reggio, Montessori, Emmy Pickler, the New Zealand curriculum and the woven cloth. All of it points back to play. And you go back in history and play really was at the center of everything. It's where we learn our social skills. It's great for cognitive development, physical development, and play honestly prepares us for later life. Play is just an opportunity for active hands-on learning, and they are all the things that lead us to where we want to be later.
Yes, absolutely. So important. We mentioned a little earlier the importance that you've also placed on natural experiences in childhood development. Can you maybe elaborate on how you incorporate nature into your teaching methods and what benefits you've seen as a result?
So when we talk about our children and nature play, sometimes this is seen as more as an aesthetic opportunity. But honestly, we really want children to have a deeper sense of learning and opportunity. And also our practitioners, we understand about biophilia. That is the desire and innate connection that you're born with to connect with nature. Children look at nature so differently to how we as adults do. Now, I'm sure, you'll walk along a beach or through a forest and you'll look at it very much from an aesthetic point of view. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, that sunset's this. Oh, look at those trees turning orange, for example. But children, they want to touch it. They want to engage in it and they want their senses to explore it. So that's why we build it in, because honestly, it has so many benefits to children's development. It's, where grounding comes in as well, and being a bit more mindful, and all of that eco-literacy and language that we use and we want our children to understand comes from playing in nature.
So the rebrand of Yellow Kite Nursery aligns with the launch of the Yellow Kite book. Can you tell us a little bit more about the Yellow Kite book?
Of course. So the rebrand has really given us an opportunity to reflect on what we stand for and really share that vision with our community. And the Yellow Kite book is the perfect embodiment of our ethos and plays a significant role in it. And obviously strengthening that connection between nursery and families. Parents seem to get to see the themes of the book as well when they read the story and they see the journey of Omar, and they will see that there is curiosity and resilience and joy. And that really aligns with our everyday practice here in the nursery. Moving forward, I believe that this will only draw more families to us, but also deepen the trust and involvement of our current community. And it's just another emphasis of everything that we hold dear.
As we mentioned, the book and the nursery both emphasize a deep connection to nature. Can you share how the Yellow Kite is being integrated into your nature-focused curriculum and what impact this has had on the children?
Honestly, the Yellow Kite really complements the nature part of our curriculum. We have such a nature deficit in Dubai. We're in a very urban city. We have to really seek out nature, and children have great imagination. So we've really begun using the story. We've read it to them with props and things like that, but we're very lucky to have a forest school in our nursery. So we've begun using the story outside for storytelling sessions and encouraging the children to explore the element natures of the book. We have kites as well that we have both made and been able to try flying. And it's just been amazing to see where their imagination takes the story and then watching them use it in their play and continuing the story, almost retelling it in role play. They're also starting to point things out, like they can hear the birds or they pretend they can see the creatures that you find in the book. And they just continually refer back to it. Only enriches the world around them, but it also fosters that deeper emotional connection to nature.
I absolutely love your approach, the whole nature teaching and helping them become part of nature, appreciating nature, the fact that you bring play into their learning. What a fantastic way to raise these children, that they have such appreciation right from such a young age. It's not just books and learning and memorizing things. I think these children are so privileged to be at Yellow Kite Nursery. So I'm sure they look back and they will be so grateful for the experiences that you're making possible at Yellow Kite Nursery.
Thank you. I really share your sentiment. And I think what you've just sort of given to me there is that children have previously been viewed as these little empty vessels to sort of fill with information, and that it's for us to impart all this knowledge on them. But actually, children are so capable and they're born really capable, and they have all this innate curiosity and wonder within them. And honestly, if you take the time to slow down, connect with them and step into their world, they can take you on the most amazing learning journey. They are fascinating little beings, and it's a privilege to do what we do.
I want to just step a little bit back again. I know that you also specialized in supporting children with disabilities and working with underprivileged families. What key lessons have you learned from working with SEND children? And how do you integrate those in your leadership at Yellow Kite Nursery?
Honestly, all children need is acceptance. Acceptance of who they are right now in the moment, and give them some time. And that applies to all children, not just our neurodiverse children. This is for all children and families. And I think just accepting them for who they are and trying to step into their world rather than trying to change them or asking them to change who and what they are in order to fit into our world. It's up to us to make those adaptations as adults and as educators, especially, to be able to make them feel loved and safe and secure. I honestly think that's where the magic lies.
I love that approach, that you recognize that they innately have what it takes. You don't have to give them, you don't have to add to them, you just have to provide a safe space and the guidance, and then they can find the right path.
Yeah, like obviously progress is different for every child. And I always say to comparison is the thief of joy, because what is progress for your child can look very different from someone else's. So only focus on celebrating your own child's progress and don't compare them to other children, because there really is no joy to be found in that. And you should always celebrate and make your own child be so special.
Oh, I love that. And I think it's true for adults as well. We shouldn't be comparing ourselves. It's not a competition. We should be comparing ourselves only to ourselves. Have we made progress and not to other people? I think the world will be a lot happier if people stopped competing with other people and looked at their own progress instead.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a good life lesson to be teaching them at that young age, that there's no competition with others.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a little bit of kindness, a little bit of self-love, and a little bit of acceptance goes a long way.
Leading a nursery must be a very demanding role. How do you maintain your own well-being and prevent burnout while ensuring the highest standards for the children and the families that you serve?
I do hear my name a lot, both at work and at home. I'm a mum. I work full time. I also have a very strong sense of self, and very aware of when I need that time. You know, I've been in this job a long time, and even in my training, you were always taught to be quite aware of what your own needs are. Having that supervision and mentorship as well goes a long way. I'm also really lucky that at Yellow Kite Nursery, we very much have a positive workplace culture where we talk about self-care, we talk about well-being, and we're encouraged to prioritize it. So when I do find myself needing that time, I always look for quality connection with my family. Something that's, not a scheduled activity, but actual quality time and conversations with my husband, with my son, doing something simple, even as simple as reading a book with my child. I find that really therapeutic. I do love a good gym session, and just kind of recognizing that sometimes I can't do it all and I may need some help and I might have to slow down and reach out to the support elements that I have in my own community.
Yes, so what I'm hearing you saying is your own self-awareness together with a supportive network, a great work environment is key. That helps you then to keep your balance so that you can have what it takes to then support the children and their families.
Yeah, absolutely, Hilmarie. You can't pour from an empty cup, right? So how can I support these children and families if my cup is dwindling? So it's really important that I prioritize that, and I do recognize that as well.
For individuals or young people passionate about early childhood education, but they are unsure where to start, what advice would you give them on how to succeed and to make a meaningful impact in this field?
So I would definitely say, ask yourself, why are you doing this? And don't assume that because it's a child-centered job that this will work around maybe other commitments or your own family, because if anything, it's quite the opposite. It's quite demanding. It can be long hours. And also, what is your why? Like, maybe start with some home learning and some reading before you dive into sort of any further courses, because it's quite expensive, especially in this part of the world, paying for all of these courses, and see if there's something that piques your interest. Because I started off in child development, but then I've ended up branching out into training adults, and I've branched out into special needs, as you said. So really take your time in finding what it is that you're passionate about, and don't rush. And don't think, oh, I'm going to do this in a 12-month period. You need to give yourself some time to really let the learning sink in, and also to enjoy the journey.
I love that. And I really appreciate that you said to start with your wife. You need to know what it is that inspires you, that fills you up, and then you can also give that further, and not to rush the journey, but to enjoy it along the way.
Definitely. I mean, don't get me wrong, working with children is joyful, and so is working with families. But there are stresses that come alongside that. So I do think as well, maybe talk to other people in the industry if you know anyone. See if you can get some volunteer time as well before you dive in. You don't want to commit to something and then find out that actually it's not for you.
I think volunteering is an excellent suggestion because, as you say, it gives you that exposure and then to find out, is this really what I want to do? Excellent advice. Thank you very much. Now we've come to the segment of our show that gets a little bit more exciting, our rapid fire round. It's our version of a game show. Are you ready for some quick fire questions?
I'm ready.
Tea or coffee to start your day?
Tea.
One book every childhood educator should read.
The book with no pictures.
The book with no pictures.
We talking about books to read to children or books that educators should read?
Yeah, no, a book early childhood educators should read.
Okay, that's a book that I would recommend that they read to children. A book for them to read would be the parenting book you wish your parents had read.
Oh, excellent. What's your go-to way to unwind after a long day at the nursery?
Gym, kickboxing.
Oh, nice. Do you have a hidden talent?
Online shopping count?
What is one thing that you do every day, no matter how busy you get?
Check in with my son, make sure I give him a hug and make sure he knows how loved he is.
Fantastic. Thank you for playing along. That was easy enough. Now I would like to ask you our signature question about your Greenpool moment.
Okay.
Could you share an inspiring or life-changing experience that you have gone through, your Greenpool moment?
So when I found out that I was coming on this podcast, I had a listen through, and honestly, a Greenpool moment is what led me to Yellow Kite Nursery. So I received a text message from the CEO saying, "Hey, do you know anyone looking for a manager's job?" And at the time I was in a role, in a nursery, quite happy. I could have recommended other people for the role, but actually I was like, this is an opportunity. And I said yes. And 4 years later, this is where I found myself and I couldn't be happier. So for me, that is probably a green pill moment.
Yes, taking on a challenge like that, being open to opportunities that come your way is what led you to where you are now. So thank you very much for that. And thank you for sharing that experience with us. Thank you also for sharing your journey, all the insights that you've shared with us today. It's been excellent. Absolutely loved this conversation. I love your approach to children and childhood education. It's absolutely fantastic. Before we wrap up, could you please let our listeners know where they can find and follow you and where they can also learn more about the Yellow Kite Nursery?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me and taking the time. I've loved the conversation. You can find us online at yellowkitenursery.com. You can also check us out on Instagram, Yellow Kite Nursery. And of course, if you are local to Dubai, pick up the phone and give us a call.
Thank you again, Laura. It's been an absolute pleasure. I will definitely continue to follow your journey and I wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much.
And to our listeners, if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Matrix Greenpool podcast for more inspiring conversations.
If you enjoy our conversations, please like and subscribe. See you next Wednesday.